Alright. There is the audience. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get this set. In our lives, we're not given step-by-step instructions, but maybe a guide that we learn from those that have come before us. This guide is based on the principles and beliefs that we have accepted as our own. Tradition can be defined in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as the handing down of information, beliefs, or customs from one generation to the next. Each and every one of us, we have traditions that we enjoy celebrating with our families, especially at Christmas time. At Christmas, Christians all over the world celebrate the birth of Jesus. Although there are many countries that have their own customs that we are unfamiliar with here in America, there are many Christmas traditions that we have adopted and now share with those countries. In all of my research on this topic, I found many resources to the origin of Santa deriving from the legends of St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas was a wealthy man. He was well known for his good deeds towards children and sharing his wealth with the poor and the church. There are many legends based on St. Nicholas's gift-giving traits. St. Nicholas's legend and his gift-giving traits made its way to America in the 1700s through Dutch settlers. The Dutch had transformed his name to Santa Claus, and eventually we Americans changed it to Santa Claus. Although the idea of some unforeseen man sneaking into your homes at night and leaving gifts for you wasn't quite welcomed with the Americans early on. Throughout the years, poems, songs, children's books created an image of this mythical man that we came to love and adore. In her book, Christmas in America, Penny Ristad gives credit to Thomas Nast for creating these images. Thomas Nast was a cartoonist editorial for a widely distributed, publicized magazine throughout the nation. His images that he created was that of a jolly old man with a sack full of toys on his back, the fur-trimmed red coat that we're so familiar with. He gave him a sleigh, 8 tiny reindeer, and even named his home the North Pole. By the 19th century, Santa Claus became a household name. Now that we've revealed Santa's homecoming to America, let's discover how the Christmas tree came into our homes. According to A&E Network's The History Channel, Germany is credited for starting the Christmas tree tradition. It is also believed that the 16th century Protestant reformer, Martin Luther, was the first to bring the tree into his home and decorate it with lighted candles. Early German settlers brought their traditions over to America in the 1700s, although it wasn't quite accepted until about the mid-1800s. As in Daniel Foley's book explains, the Christmas tree in the mid-1800s is when there was, again, many publicized books and songs that was created. One, our image of Santa Claus, but then it also started to include the knowledge of the Christmas tree, which gave pictorial representation of what it was all about. The Christmas tree popularity in the U.S. began to rise. Early trees were decorated with candy canes, popcorn, handmade paper ornaments. Later, electricity came along, which allowed us to add the Christmas lights to our trees, and trees started to appear across the country commercially. Having a Christmas tree in our homes became an American tradition. Now that we've discovered how the Christmas tree came into our homes, let's talk a little history about the candy cane. WhyChristmas.com is a site devoted to facts about Christmas and helps to explain my findings about the history of the candy cane. Many years ago, this sugary treat began as just a straight, plain white stick of candy. Its first reference in relation to Christmas dates back to the year 1670. Legend has it that a German choir master gave these sugary treats to children to keep them quiet during the church's nativity services. He wanted that candy to possibly show some type of representation in relation to those nativity services and to take the opportunity to use it as a teaching tool for those children. The German choir master had the candies bent into the shape of a shepherd's staff. The stripes on the candy cane did not come until about the 19th century, and some Christians believe that the red stripes represent the blood of Jesus. According to the National Confectioners Association, the first documented use of candy canes in the U.S. dates back to 1847 when a German immigrant decorated his small Christmas tree with the candy canes. Using candy canes as decorations likely spread at this time. Time magazine states that U.S. produces 1.76 billion candy canes each year, with 90% of them sold during the weeks of Thanksgiving and Christmas. The National Confectioners Association adds that candy canes are the #1 selling non-chocolate candies in the month of December, with their biggest sales increasing during the second week, most likely attributed to people decorating their Christmas trees at this time. Today, we welcome Santa to America. We discovered how the Christmas trees came into our home, and we explored a little history about the candy cane. There are many Christmas traditions we've adopted and now share with other parts of the world. However, we Americans have created some of our own images and beliefs we call all our own. We engage in these Christmas traditions year after year and keep them alive. I like to think of our Christmas traditions, or any tradition for that matter, as a gift from our ancestors. And the world-famous cellist Yo-Yo Ma sums it up best when he stated in an interview. He says, "When you learn something from people or from a culture, you accept it as a gift, and it is your lifelong commitment to preserve that gift and to build on that gift."